Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Montague here, and as you can tell, I will be giving you an overview of Gmail for this video. So you might think that Gmail is pretty basic, it's just where you get your emails, right? Well, there's quite a few features built into Gmail, and I'm going to go through some of those things now, so maybe you can streamline your emails a little bit, get some organization in there, see the different settings you can select, and just make your Gmail a little bit easier to manage. So, as you can tell for my Gmail, I have a space background built in, so that's just a theme that you can select, which I'll show you those settings in just a few minutes. But I have temporarily moved all of my emails out of my inbox just in case I've got anything in there that's private. I want to make sure that none of you are seeing my actual emails, so I just moved them into a temporary inbox for now, so that's why I've got nothing in my inbox right now. So you can see the basics from here. So this is just the home screen of my inbox. If I scroll and hold over this little side panel, you can see I've got my inbox, my starred emails, my snoozed emails, my sent emails, any drafts, etc. So all of the rest of these down here, like my benefits folder, my meetings folder, my MHS folder with all of these things underneath it, all of these are called labels, and that's something that I have built into my inbox in order to organize my emails a little bit better. So if you go down to more at the bottom, and you keep scrolling on down, you can see, oops, that you've got the option to create a new label here all the way at the bottom. When I click on that, it's going to bring up a spot where I can make a new label. So let's just say that I am doing an example label here. You can nest it under existing labels. So if I click that option, it's going to give me this drop-down box where I can select an existing label I have, and then it will put that label within that existing label that I already have. So that would be an example, like I've got my MHS folder, and then all of these folders underneath it for Battle of the Books, Canvas, Chromebooks, collaborations, things like that. All of those are sub-labels to this main MHS label. So that's your general structure. It works just like a folder system. So if you've got like your main folder and then subfolders beneath that, that's the same concept here within your inbox. But I don't want to nest this under a label. I just want it to be out there by itself so I can show you guys how that works. So I'm going to click Create. Remember, this is called Example as my label name. So when I come back over here and scroll up, it's going to show in alphabetical order. So now you can see my example label is showing up right here. The hamburger off to the side lets you select a label color. So if you're a big fan of color coding, you can color code your different labels to kind of organize them a little bit more, have that visual representation of the differences between your labels. You can show the label in your list, or you can hide it, so you won't necessarily see that label off in this side panel if you don't want to. And you can select to show if unread. That means if you've got maybe some filtering, so emails are going straight into that folder, and if you've got unread emails that filter into that folder, the folder will only show if you have unread emails in it. So it kind of gives you that notification that you've got some emails you might have to check there. You can also choose to show or hide the folder in your message list. You can edit the label from here. You can remove the label completely, or you can add a sub-label to this label. I'm actually just going to go ahead and remove this label because I don't really want it. So it's going to ask me to confirm that, and I will click delete right there. Really quickly, I'm just going to send myself an example email. So let's send it to Alyssa.Montague. That's me. This is an example email, and it's just a sample. So I'm going to click send on that. So now I actually have an email in my inbox that you can see here. So I click on it. That's the email I just sent. And then I have options that I can do from here. So if I select the email with the checkbox, then I have all of these options that appear at the top. So this button right here will archive it. So it will put it into an archive folder where it will just save for however long until I decide to delete it out there. You can report the email as spam. So if you're getting a bunch of emails from like a company and you don't want their emails, you can report them as spam. You can also go in and unsubscribe. But reporting as spam might be a good option if you are getting spammy emails and you want to report those. You can, of course, delete the email. You can mark the email as unread. So when I clicked on it, that marked it as a read email. That means I clicked on it and viewed it. So if I'm like, oh, I want to remind myself to look at this maybe later, I can mark it as unread. So then it will tell me that I have one email in my inbox again. You can snooze the email. So that means like if you need to handle it later and aren't quite ready to deal with it right now, you can snooze it and then it will show up again in your inbox at a later time, maybe when you're more able to deal with it. You can move to, I use this tool a lot. It's the easiest way to move to any of your labels you've created. So you see when I click on the move to, then it gives me all of my labels and sub-labels that I can move that email into. So you can also select to label it this way, but keep it in your inbox. So it will be in your inbox, but have that label on it so you know where to put it in the future, for instance. And of course, you can also create new or manage your labels from here as well. Then if we click on our hamburger to give us more options, we can mark the email as not important. We can add it to our task list, which I'll get into a little bit more later. We can add a star to the email. And that means that I want to maybe put a star on there to remind me that it's something that I need to look at later. You can filter messages like these. So maybe you want to have any email from a particular person be filtered. So that would be sent to maybe one of my label folders instead of to my inbox. So that's the filter option. You can mute the email from these people. So of course, this would be muting emails from myself, which I don't want to do. But you can do that if you don't want to get notified that you're getting emails from somebody. And you can also forward the email as an attachment. So if you're wanting somebody else to see the email, but you don't want to just like forward the email itself, you can just make the email part an attachment and send it to somebody that way. So those are your main options in the main menu about your emails. You can see the little star button right here. I can also just click on the star right there and it will highlight that email to remind me that I might want to work on that email a little bit later. And you just simply click the star again and it will take the star away. So maybe you finished what you had to do with that email and you've unstarred it so it's not on your to-do list anymore. So those are your basic email settings. You've also got your Gmail settings over here. So I'm going to go into these a little bit more. So your display density is the view. So there's the default view, which gives you the little list of attachments that are included in emails. The comfortable view takes those attachments out of the main body section and kind of condenses it with just this little attachment icon. The compact view will mean I have just more emails showing and it will kind of condense them to make more emails show on a page rather than the comfortable view, which makes them just a little bit bigger. I like the little bit bigger option so I can see them a little bit better. The configure inbox actually lets you add your social tabs, promotion tabs, updates, and forums. So if you click on social and promotions, that should automatically filter those emails into your social and promotions folder. So when I click save, you now see I've got my social tab here. So maybe any social media posts or emails that I get will go into that social tab. And promotions would be things like you get from any companies you're signed up for. So I get a lot of emails from Sphero. I get a lot of email from like Little Bits because I'm a Little Bits certified educator. So things like that will go into my promotions tab. I'm actually going to go ahead and take those checkboxes off because I like all of my emails to just go straight into one inbox where I can check them all at the same time. So I will save those settings and revert back to my regular inbox view. Of course, I mentioned themes earlier, so this is where you would get any specialized themes that you want for Gmail. So they've got all of these built-in options that you can choose from. Any themes that you like, you can select from there. You can also select My Photos, and then it will take you to a spot where you can upload any photos you might want to use for your theme. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out. I'm satisfied with my theme. I'm obsessed with space, so I'm leaving it as it is. You can also send feedback to the Gmail team if you're having any issues, and you can get help. You'll notice I skipped over this settings. I'm going to click on that now because that's going to take me to the advanced settings menu, and there's a ton of stuff in here. So I'm going to try and go through it point by point, highlight the things that I think are important for you to know, and we'll go from there. So the first thing obviously is your language, and then you can choose to read right to left support, which is currently off. We generally read left to right, so I don't really need the right to left support for the English language that we use. Your default country code is the United States. Your maximum page size you can set. So that's conversations per page. So right now I've got it set to show me 50 emails at once. After the initial 50 emails that might be in my inbox, then it's going to take me to a page 2 to view any more emails that might be in there. You can set that higher to 100 or lower if you only want to see select few emails on a page. The default reply behavior, I don't have selected, but you can choose to select here. The reply button will either just reply to the main person that sent the email, or it will reply all in case anyone else was copied on that email. So you can select those settings if you want to, but you don't necessarily have to have those set. You can choose on individual emails if you want to reply to one person or reply to all people. I have the enable hover option or actions checked, which means that I can quickly archive, delete, snooze, etc. when I hover over my emails, or you can choose to disable that. The send and archive functions, you can hide the send and archive buttons in the reply, or you can choose to show those. I have the hide because I don't really need to see that all the time. I feel like that just adds extra clutter for my inbox and I don't want to see it. You've also got the default text style that you can select. So maybe if you want a serif font instead, or you want to just really goof it up and make all of your emails send in Comic Sans, you can select your text style from here. You've also got images, so you can choose to always display external images in your emails, which I have chosen to do, or you can ask before displaying those images in your emails. I like to always display them because it just makes it easier, less work for me when I'm trying to view an image that somebody may have sent me. The dynamic email, I'm actually not sure what that does. I'm going to skip right over it. You can also choose to turn grammar suggestions on or off and spelling suggestions on or off, and you can turn autocorrect on or off. I've got them all on. I like to be grammatically correct when I send my emails, so definitely the autocorrect, spelling suggestions, and grammar suggestions have helped me out in the past, so I don't send an email with a bunch of misspelled words and look like a goofball. You can also turn personalization on or turn personalization off. I have it on. I personally like being able to personalize things. There's also these writing suggestions, which sometimes Google doesn't like the way that I write, so I keep those off because that's a little bit too intrusive for me. I've got my own writing style. I don't need input from Google, but that will help you with sentence structure and things like that if you want to enable it. Your conversations view can be on or off. That sets, of course, right here, whether emails of the same topic are grouped together. So I like to group those emails. It makes it a little bit easier to find what I'm looking for. The nudges are things that you get if you've got an email that you've sent and maybe haven't heard a reply in a while. It will ask you if you want to follow up on any email that you've sent and haven't gotten a reply to. And then it will also nudge you if you've gotten an email and you haven't replied to it. So it'll ask you, hey, do you want to reply to this email? It's been 5 days. So I have both of those turned on just so it kind of reminds me to follow up on things if I would like to be able to see those. So the smart reply, again, I'm not really, oh, I do know what that is. The smart reply is the little suggestions that you get. So like I'll get an email from somebody saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know that so-and-so turned in their Chromebook, and it will give me the smart reply option where I can just click thank you, and it will draft that email that says thank you, and I can click send. So without me having to type anything, it'll send my reply automatically that way. The desktop notifications mean that you will get a notification on a Chromebook. You will get a notification here in your little dashboard that you've gotten an email. I don't like getting those. I usually have my Gmail tab open all day, every day. So I don't really need to get a notification when I get a new email because I'm checking it constantly. But if you want notifications when you get an email, that's what you want to turn on. Okay, there are some more settings that you can choose with the stars here, as you can see. So right now, I only have the yellow stars in use, which means it's just something that I think is important for me to have. So if I wanted to enable more options for the stars, I can simply drag them up here. And let's actually take that orange one out. Let's say I want yellow, purple, and green. So if I have all of those stars enabled, that means I could just star my emails with different colors, which might mean different things to me. So starring an email in yellow might mean that it's really important and I need to get back to it right away. Starring it in purple might mean that it's just something that like I want to have flagged with an easy thing for me to see for an email I might want to reference back to later. And then green might have a different meaning. So it's completely up to you if you want to use more than one star. For me, I typically find that having only one star in use, which is the yellow star, works for me just fine. I just star any emails that I need to get back to later, and it works fine, and I unstar them when I'm done. Simple as that. The keyboard shortcuts are going to, let's see. Let's learn some more about the keyboard shortcuts. So, all right, so it's going to be for formatting text, composing emails, all of these things you see here. So, of course, if you want to learn more about those keyboard shortcuts, you can click on that Learn More, and it will tell you all the information you need to know. I don't use keyboard shortcuts. As far as emails go, I just send and receive my emails like normal. So, the button labels, you can choose them to be icons or you can choose labels to be text. I prefer the icons because they're a little bit easier to just see and move on with. So the text just makes it a little bit more reading on your end, where icons I feel are just easily recognizable. Then you go down here, you can change your picture that shows up in your Google profile. You can create contacts for autocomplete. So this says when you send a message to a new person, it will add them to your contacts, so it will autocomplete next time. So if I'm like sending an email to a student for the first time, I'll probably have to type the full email address the first time I send an email, but after that, it should auto add those people to my contacts, and I won't have to type out their full email address again. Then you get down here to your signature box, and of course you've got all your general text settings. You can insert images into your signature. I've got my links to the MHS library pages. I've got my Google Certified Educator badge here, and a nice little quote from Brandon Sanderson, one of my favorite authors. So if you want to change your signature at any point, you just go in here and update it. The personal level indicators are going to show you that messages that have been sent to your address or messages that were sent only to you. So it will just like indicate different things about your email. I don't use those because it's not something that's important to me. If you want it to show indicators to tell you if you were sent a message that a group of people were sent to, etc., you might want to turn those indicators on. The snippets are the little text snippets that you get when you're in your inbox. So I'm just going to actually hop over to my inbox here and show you. Yeah, I just got another email from Spiro. So seeing this, just a sample here with my signature line in it, and then the first part of the Spiro email, those are the snippets that I'm seeing. If I choose to turn those off, I would just see the title example for this email, and I would just see complimentary access to premium Spiro CS content for this email, and I wouldn't see anything after that. So that would just be a little bit cleaner of a look for your email. I personally like to be able to see a little bit of the body of the email to know which email I'm looking at if I've got maybe multiple emails from people that I'm looking for here. So let me hop back into settings over here, get back to where we were, which was snippets right here. All right, and then our last thing on this main page is our vacation responder. So if you're going to be out of the office for any length of time, you can turn your vacation responder off and set which days you're going to be out of the office and have it send an auto reply to people who try to contact you while you're out of the office there. So those are your basic settings. Throughout Gmail, you can change any of those at any time. So we're going to move on to our second settings, which are our labels. So you can see I've got all my labels built in here, and currently all of them are showing because I like to be able to see all of my labels. If I click on hide, that means I'm not going to see those labels in my little side panel over here when I hover over it. So if I chose to like hide my MHS label, that label and all of the sub labels then would also be hidden. And then of course you've got your show if unread options built in here as well. You can also remove or edit your labels from here. And then you can also see you've got the general categories and then the system labels, and these system labels are all built in. So if you want to see emails that are marked as important, you can show those. I've got them hidden because I've got my own system to denote which emails are important to me. All right, so we're going to move right along to the inbox here. So my inbox is a default type. Again, from here, you can choose to add categories to your inbox if you want to see those different subfolders right within your inbox, which I don't. You can change your reading pane. So if I select that reading pane, I can either see the body of an email that I click on to the right of my inbox, below the inbox, or no split whatsoever. So obviously if I put below my inbox, I would be able to see all the emails in my inbox, and then the email I have clicked on would just expand on the bottom, and I would be able to read that email while also viewing the emails in my inbox that way. I'm going to actually disable that. I don't like that option. I like to just be able to click on emails and read them and not have all that clutter on my screen so I can concentrate on the email that I'm looking at. The importance markers are these little yellow tags that you can put onto emails. So I've got those showing. If you send an email, you can mark your email that you send as important, and then that importance label will show in the person's inbox if they have that show markers option enabled. So you can decide whether or not you want to see those. I think it's useful to see if somebody else has marked their email as important. That means it's something I probably should check pretty quick. And then your filtered mail, you can choose to either override filters for important messages, or you can choose to not override emails for important filters, excuse me, for important messages. So that only applies to important messages. It wouldn't apply to any of your other filter settings. So if once you pick your settings there, let me move my face to make sure there's nothing over there. We're good. You would just click Save Changes before you want to move on. All right, so then accounts over here, you can change your account settings. It will take you to the Google account settings page, which will be a different page. And then I am choosing to send mail as myself. So obviously it's got my little information in here. That's what people see when I send them an email. And I'm perfectly all right with that because that's my name and that's my email address. So it makes it easier for people to get back to me. You can also choose to check mail from other accounts within this Cherokee County Schools email. I prefer to keep my emails separate. I only want to see Cherokee County Schools emails in my Cherokee County Schools inbox. So I don't have that turned on, but if you'd like to see mail from another account coming in, you can add another account here, and it will show you all those emails as well. So the filters and the blocked email addresses. I don't have anybody blocked because I want to get emails from everybody. Unless there are messages that are spammy, and then I might block those, but usually I just mark them as spam and move on. But the really important thing on this page is the filtering. So I'm actually going to click right here and say create a new filter. Okay, so it's going to say that I can filter emails that are from a certain person. I can filter emails that are to a certain person. I can filter emails based on subject. I can filter emails that have certain words. I can filter emails that don't have certain words. Or I can filter emails by size, or attachments, or chats. So all of these ways you can filter emails, and the filtering means that your email, when you receive something and it's got a filter on it, that email is going to go somewhere other than your inbox. So that's what makes it so important to not hide your labels. If they've got filtering turned on, you might be getting emails to one of your labels or sub-labels, but if you have that label hidden, you won't be able to see that you're getting new emails in that section if you've got emails being filtered to that place, if that makes sense. So I don't really use email filtering myself just because I like to be able to see all of my emails, and then I just put them in the labels that I want them to be put. I like to make sure I'm actually reading everything that comes in as it comes in. So I kind of just do all of the filtering by hand. But if you prefer it to be automatic, you can add in your filters and go from there. If you need any help adding in your filters, you can check in with me and I'll help you with that. If you're just not quite sure how it works or need some additional help, just let me know. You can also look at this email forwarding. So you can add a forwarding address. So maybe if you're not going to have access to your Cherokee County Schools email for an extended period for some reason, you might want to have all of your email forwarded to you. I don't honestly know what this POP download or this IMAP access is. So if you want to learn more about those, I highly suggest you come over here and click on these learn more links. So I'm not going to really go into those. I just leave those settings at their default. So over here on add-ons, you can see that they've got some add-ons that you can add to Gmail that might help you do certain things. I think that Gmail is comprehensive enough that I haven't ever looked into any add-ons that you can add, but there are certain add-ons you can get. So if you are interested in add-ons, you can click on this manage button and it will show you some add-ons that you can add, or you can click on this install developer add-ons. That'll give you additional add-ons that you can potentially add to Gmail that might help you with some certain things. Over here on chat, okay, that is going to determine whether or not your Google Hangouts chats show within your email. So you can see when I hover over here, I've got my little self right here, and it's got the green icon over my picture showing I'm online. And if I scroll down through here, you can see I've got all of my chats in this side panel right here. because I have my chat showing on. The advanced options, you can read through these on your own really easy. So there's all of these custom keyboard shortcuts you can create. You can put chat on the right side instead of having it in your little section down here. So a bunch of different things you can change from here. I've got all of it disabled. I just like how Gmail looks when it's set up, how it's set up already. So I haven't done any of those, but those are options there for you if you need them. The offline settings means that you can get emails while you are offline, but I do believe that this is turned off from our tech department. This has not been enabled. So I don't think you can receive emails when you're offline at this point. If you need to receive emails when you're offline, you can get in touch with John Parker and he might be able to help set that up. I'm not sure if it's something that our county offers or not, though. And then lastly, you've got themes here as well. So if you click on this set theme, it's going to take you back to that themes page where you can select what you want. And that about does it for our settings. So I'm going to go back over here to my inbox. I'm going to just discard my changes because I don't need to make any of those. I'm going to quickly select this email from Sphero. I don't really care about it. And I'm just going to delete it. Actually, I will show you how to move it to a sublabel. So let's say I want to move this to my, let's put it in, let's say MHS Sports for now. So I've got a sublabel for that. You can see the conversation has moved to MHS Sports down here. Let's say, oops, that email's not about sports. That's not where I wanted to put it. Well, it disappeared now, but you could have clicked that undo button and it would pop right back into your email inbox. So you can move it to a different folder from there. You can also just select an email and drag it over here and just drop it in whatever folder you want to put it in. I'm not actually going to do that because I don't want to save this email. But that's another way you can move it to one of your labels or sublabels. And then last but not least, over here, you've got this little side calendar of quick links to certain things. So the first one is your calendar. If I click on that, it's going to show me today's calendar with any meetings or other information that might be coming up for today. So the only thing on the calendar I've got here is the art club meeting from 2:41, which obviously won't be happening because we're not in school. But that is the little calendar pop-out that you can see within your Gmail to just kind of see what you got going on for the day. If you click on this little button right here, it will open your calendar in a new tab so you can see your full calendar that way. The Google Keep option is the next one. So Keep is something that I personally have used for like creating lists and things like that. So you can take note right here. If I click on a new one, I can put in a title and put in notes. So I might use Google Keep to give me a checklist of things that I want to get done that day. I've used Google Keep to create grocery lists, things like that. So those are just kind of like little notes or reminders that you might want to keep. And then again, this little pop-out button right here will open your Google Keep notes into a new tab if you want to see them in a larger format. Then we've also got tasks over here. So your Google Tasks, you can add a task manually here. So let's say that I want to record a video on, say, using Gmail. Okay, and I'm going to say that's my task, and now you can see it right here, and I can click to mark it as complete. Then it will disappear from my task list. So that's what I meant by selecting this over here and then adding to tasks. So I have just added this example email to my task list, which means that maybe that's an email that I've got to do something or follow up on. So you can add it to your little list here. You can put a bunch of different tasks in here and click to check them off. as you complete them. All right, so the hamburger right here lets you reorder your task list. You can rename your list. You can delete your completed tasks, etc. So you can also put reminders on your tasks. So if you've got something that you need to complete in a week, you can put a reminder on it. So it will remind you every day. It'll remind you the day before. However you decide to set that reminder, you can remind yourself that you've got tasks to do, and check that little taskbar on your side of your email to make sure you're managing everything you've got going on. So that about covers it for Gmail. The last thing that I really want to mention to you is that you can click on this little grid icon right here, and this shows up anywhere in Google Chrome if you're logged in. But I'll mention it in this video because I usually travel from my Gmail to other places using this. So you see when I click on that grid, I can go to my Gmail account. I can go to a business that I might have, which I don't have. But I can also go to my Drive. I can go to Classroom, Docs, Calendar, Slides, Sheets, etc. So any G Suite app that we have access to should show up here. If you scroll down, you've got more options. So all of these things I can get to by clicking on that grid, finding the appropriate thing I'm trying to go to, and then just clicking on it. So I just did a video on Google Groups. You can see Google Groups right there. If I click on that, it is going to open Google Groups into a new tab. So that is very, very useful, an easy way to navigate around all of your G Suite apps that we've got available to us through CCS. So that's really it. That's all I wanted to mention to you as far as Gmail. I do encourage you to look into the labels and sublabels, though. As you can see, I've got a ton of them. It's just a great way to keep myself organized and make sure that you're getting to things in a timely manner. So if you've got any questions on how to use Gmail, how to change your settings, anything like that, please let me know, and I would be happy to help you get on board with organizing all your email in your Gmail.